You know that sinking feeling when you come home to find your sister has moved into your house with 6 boxes, 2 suitcases, and a U-Haul truck, and your parents think you're the problem for objecting? I'm Laura Henderson, 34 years old, and what I'm about to share might sound familiar to many of you. After a decade of saving every penny, skipping vacations, and living on ramen through my 20s, I finally bought my dream home in Bellevue, Washington. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a small garden where I plan to grow tomatoes. It was supposed to be my sanctuary. Then my recently divorced sister decided she had equal rights to my property. My parents backed her up, calling me selfish and heartless. When she publicly announced at my housewarming party that this was our family home, I knew it was time to show them all what legal ownership really means. Before we dive into how I reclaimed my house with the help of property law, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. I'd love to know where you're watching from, so drop your location and local time in the comments below. Let me tell you how I legally reclaimed my home from the family members who thought kindness meant weakness. 10 years. That's how long I'd been planning for this moment. While my friends were backpacking through Europe or upgrading their cars, I was brown bagging lunch and calculating mortgage rates. Every bonus from my software engineering job went straight into savings. Every tax refund, every freelance project, all of it building toward one goal. The day I got the keys to my house in Bellevue, I actually cried. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 1,850 square feet of space that was entirely mine. The master bedroom had a view of the garden where I'd already planned my vegetable patches. The second bedroom would be my home office, essential for my remote workdays. The third? Maybe a guest room, or perhaps a library someday. I called my parents immediately, breathless with excitement. "That's nice, honey," Mom said, her voice distracted. I could hear the TV in the background. "Does it have enough space? Any extra rooms?" Strange question, but I brushed it off. "Yeah, 3 bedrooms total." "Good, good. Family should always have room for each other." Dad mumbled congratulations before handing the phone back to Mom, who quickly ended the call. They lived 40 minutes away but didn't come to see the house for 3 weeks. My sister Melissa? She didn't respond to my texts about the house closing, not even a thumbs up emoji. But then again, she was going through her divorce, so I figured she had other priorities. The divorce had been messy, her husband had cheated, and Mom constantly reminded me that Melissa was fragile right now. I spent the first month setting up my sanctuary. New furniture, carefully chosen. A desk positioned perfectly in the home office. Everything exactly where I wanted it. I should have noticed Mom's question about spare rooms wasn't casual curiosity. 6 weeks after I moved in, the doorbell rang on a Tuesday evening. I opened it to find Melissa standing there with 6 cardboard boxes stacked on a dolly, 2 suitcases at her feet, and her car trunk still open in my driveway. "Hey, sis!" She pushed past me, wheeling the dolly straight into my living room. "Mom said you were expecting me." "Expecting you? For dinner?" She laughed, but it wasn't really a laugh. "No, silly. I'm moving in, just temporarily, until I get back on my feet. The divorce finalized last week, and Mom said you had plenty of room." My stomach dropped. "Melissa, we never discussed—" "Oh, don't be dramatic. Mom and Dad arranged everything. They said you'd be weird about it at first, but you'd come around." She was already heading down the hallway, opening doors. "This one's perfect. Great closet space." She'd chosen the second bedroom, my home office. "That's my office. I work from home twice a week." "You have a whole living room, just put a desk in the corner." She was already placing boxes inside. "Family helps family, right, Laura? That's what Mom always says." I stood there, mouth open, as she made 3 more trips to her car. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Be nice to your sister, she needs us right now." Another from Dad. "Don't make this difficult." By the time I found my voice to properly object, Melissa had already hung clothes in the closet. She'd even brought her own hangers. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. This had been planned. I'll grab groceries tomorrow, she said, flopping onto my couch with my remote. What's the Wi-Fi password? She had already picked her room. Hell, she'd already picked her life. Within a week, my sanctuary looked like a tornado had hit it. Melissa's shoes cluttered the entryway. Her makeup covered my bathroom counter. Her leftover takeout containers filled my refrigerator, pushing aside my meal-prepped lunches. Could you please keep your things in your room? I asked on day 10, keeping my voice level. God, Laura, stop being so uptight. This is how normal people live. She didn't look up from her phone. Not everyone has OCD about coaster placement. I worked from the kitchen table now, my laptop competing for space with her magazines and coffee cups. During video calls with clients, I'd apologize for the background noise of her TV shows. My performance review was coming up in 2 months. I needed to focus. The first time her new boyfriend showed up, I came home to find them making out on my couch. "Oh, this is Brad," Melissa said, not even embarrassed. "Brad, my sister Laura, the homeowner." She said it like it was a joke. Brad stayed for dinner, then stayed the night. I heard them through the wall I shared with what used to be my office. When I mentioned this to my parents during Sunday dinner, Mom's face hardened. "She's going through a hard time, Laura. Be understanding." I am understanding, but no buts. You've always been the strong one. Melissa needs support, not judgment. Mom's tone suggested the conversation was over. Besides, you're saving money not heating an empty room. I was still paying the full mortgage, the full utilities, the full everything. But when I mentioned Melissa contributing, Dad actually laughed. "Family doesn't charge family rent. Don't be ridiculous." Melissa smirked from across the table. She knew she'd won before the fight even started. My utility bill arrived like a slap in the face. Electricity, up 70%. Water, doubled. Gas, through the roof. Melissa took 40-minute showers, left lights on everywhere, and cranked the heat to 75 degrees while I was at work. "Could you maybe chip in for utilities?" I asked, showing her the bill. "I'm literally broke from the divorce, Laura. You know that." She was online shopping on her laptop. Besides, the bills would be basically the same whether I was here or not. That was a lie, and we both knew it. But when I mentioned it to Mom, she said, "Really? You're nickel and diming your own sister? Your salary is 3 times what she made before the divorce." My home office situation was affecting work. During a critical presentation, Melissa barged in looking for her hairdryer, clearly visible on my video call. My manager asked privately if everything was okay at home. I laughed it off, but I saw him make a note. The grocery situation was worse. I'd buy food for my meal prep Sunday, and by Tuesday, half would be gone. "I was hungry," Melissa would shrug. "We're family. What's yours is mine, right?" Wrong. So wrong. But every time I tried to establish boundaries, I hit the same wall. "You own a house at 34, Dad reminded me. "Melissa lost everything in the divorce. Have some perspective." Perspective? My savings were draining, my work was suffering, my sanctuary had become a stress factory. But pointing any of this out made me the villain in my family's story. The breaking point came when I overheard Melissa on the phone. "Yeah, I'm set for a while. My sister's place is basically mine now. She's too much of a pushover to kick me out." Too much of a pushover. We'd see about that. I woke at 2 a.m. to find Brad in my kitchen, wearing only boxers, eating my yogurt straight from the container. My yogurt, with my spoon, in my kitchen. "Oh, hey," he said, not even embarrassed. Melissa said to make myself at home. By week 3, he was there 4 nights a week. They'd taken over the master bathroom too because it had a better shower. I found his razor on my sink, his towel on my hook. I was showering in the guest bathroom of my own house. "Can't you shower in the hall bathroom?" I asked Melissa. "The water pressure sucks in there. Don't be selfish, Laura." Selfish. In my own home. My parents started visiting more frequently, always to check on Melissa. They'd arrive unannounced, Mom cooking elaborate meals in my kitchen, leaving me to clean up while they comforted Melissa about her trauma. They never asked how I was doing. Sleep became impossible. Melissa and Brad were night owls, watching TV until 3 a.m., their laughter echoing through my walls. I started making mistakes at work, missing details I'd never missed before. My manager noticed. Then came the moment that changed everything. I was grabbing mail when my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, stopped me. "It's so nice that you and your sister bought this place together," she said, smiling. "Melissa told me all about your co-ownership arrangement. Family supporting family. How wonderful." Co-ownership? I kept my face neutral, thanked Mrs. Chen, and went inside. Melissa was on the couch, painting her nails. "You told the neighbors we co-own this house?" She didn't even look up. "Well, it's basically true. I live here. Mom and Dad said family property is everyone's property." I walked to my bedroom, closed the door, and made a phone call I should have made weeks ago. Saturday morning. I'd practiced this conversation in my head a dozen times. Melissa was sprawled on the couch, Brad's feet in her lap, both scrolling through their phones. "Melissa, we need to talk." "About what?" She didn't look up. "About your living situation." Now she looked up, eyebrow raised. "My living situation? You mean our living arrangement?" "This is my house, Melissa. Mom said it's family property." Her voice had that dangerous edge I remembered from childhood. "I pay the mortgage." "Stop being so materialistic." She sat up straighter, Brad watching like this was entertainment. "Family doesn't work like that." "Then how does it work? You pay nothing, contribute nothing?" "I'm going through a divorce." Her voice rose. "God, Laura, have some compassion." "It's been 2 months." "So you're counting days now?" She laughed, bitter and sharp. "You know what? Mom and Dad agree I can stay indefinitely. Call them if you don't believe me. This isn't their house." "No, but you're their daughter, and they're disappointed in how you're acting." She picked up her phone, started recording. "Say it again, Laura. Tell me you want your traumatized sister homeless." "Stop recording." "Why? Ashamed of yourself?" Brad smirked. "Harsh, Laura. Really harsh." "You don't even live here," I snapped at him. "He's my emotional support," Melissa said. "Unless you want to deny me that too?" "You have 3 bedrooms," she continued, her voice like ice. "I need one. It's not complicated unless you make it complicated." I looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't desperate or fragile. She was calculating. She'd played this game before, and she was winning. "We'll see about that," I said quietly. She laughed. "What are you going to do? Call the cops on your own sister?" "Not the cops. Someone better." The conference call with my parents was scheduled for Sunday evening. I'd asked for it formally, via email, thinking that might make them take it seriously. I was wrong. "Laura, this is ridiculous," Mom started before I could speak. "Calling a family meeting like we're some corporation." "I need you both to understand." "What we understand," Dad interrupted, "is that you're being heartless." "Heartless? She's taken over my home." "She's your only sister." Mom's voice was sharp. "Your only sibling? And you want to throw her out?" "I want her to respect boundaries." "Boundaries?" Mom laughed, but it wasn't funny. "Family doesn't have boundaries, Laura. That's what makes us family." She told the neighbors we co-own. "You were always the strong one," Mom cut in. "Always independent, never needing help. Melissa isn't like you." "That's not." "We're disappointed in you," Dad said quietly. "Really disappointed. We raised you better than this." The words hit like a physical blow. "You raised me to be responsible. We raised you to care about family." "I do care." "Then act like it." Mom's voice was final. "Melissa stays as long as she needs. End of discussion." "It's my house." "Is it?" Dad's tone turned strange. "Or is someone influencing you, making you act unlike yourself?" "What?" "No one's influencing." "Then stop this nonsense. Family doesn't keep score, Laura." They hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. They'd made their position clear. Melissa's comfort mattered more than my peace, my space, my life. I opened my laptop and pulled up the email I'd been drafting. Time to send it. Subject: Legal consultation needed. Property rights issue. The response came within an hour. I've been expecting this call. Let's meet tomorrow. Monday morning, I woke to find a locksmith in my hallway. What's going on? I asked, still in my pajamas. Your sister hired me, he said, installing a lock on the office door. Said she needs privacy. That's my office. Melissa appeared, smiling. Was your office. It's my bedroom now. I deserve privacy, don't you think? You can't just. I'm establishing residency. She handed me a piece of mail. Had my address officially changed. See? This is my legal address now. The envelope was addressed to Melissa Henderson at my address. My stomach turned. I'm on the lease at the post office, she continued. Brad helped me file the paperwork. Smart, right? Over the next 3 days, packages arrived constantly. Melissa was ordering furniture, clothes, kitchen appliances, all delivered to my house. She hung pictures on the walls, replaced my living room pillows with hers, even changed the Netflix password. It's our account now, she explained, since I live here permanently. Permanently. The word echoed in my head as I retreated to my bedroom, the only space left that was mine. I made a phone call, speaking quietly. Can you come to a party this weekend? Bring the documents we discussed. Already prepared, the voice replied. Everything's ready. Wednesday, Melissa posted on Facebook. So grateful to be sharing this beautiful home with family. Sometimes divorce leads you exactly where you need to be. Blessed. Family. First, #new beginnings. 47 likes. Comments from relatives praising our sisterly bond. Mom commented heart emojis. I commented nothing, but I did screenshot everything. Thursday, I sent out invitations for a housewarming party. Please join me to officially celebrate my new home. Melissa was thrilled. Our home, she corrected, already planning the menu. We should make it memorable. Oh, it would be memorable, all right. If you've ever felt guilty for setting boundaries with family, you're not alone. Drop a comment about your experience. I read every single one. And if this story resonates with you, please hit that like button. It really helps others who might need to hear this message find the video. Now, let me tell you about the phone call that changed everything. Thursday night, after Melissa and Brad went to a movie, I made the call I'd been planning. Marcus, it's Laura. I've been wondering when you'd call, Marcus Williams said. My old friend from law school, well, I'd dropped out to pursue engineering, but he'd become one of Seattle's best property lawyers. Your mom called me last month about adding Melissa to a deed. I told her that wasn't possible without the owner's consent. My blood ran cold. She what? She didn't tell you? Interesting. I could hear him typing. Laura, I need you to listen carefully. Document everything, every conversation, every receipt, every instance of property use. I've started taking photos. Good. Get more. Videos too. Install security cameras if you haven't already. Completely legal in your own home. This feels so calculating. It's protective. There's a difference. His voice softened. I've seen families destroyed by situations like this. The one who documents wins. Can we meet this weekend? I'm having a housewarming party Saturday. Perfect. I'll come as a guest. Bring everything you have. He paused. Laura, has Melissa received mail there? Yes, she changed her address. How long has she been there? 7 weeks. Good. Under 60 days. That matters. Another pause. Don't mention my involvement yet. Let her feel comfortable. The more confident she gets, the more mistakes she'll make. This is my family, Marcus. Which is why you need to handle it correctly. Legal, clean, undeniable. He sighed. Families who respect each other don't do what they're doing to you. Remember that. After we hung up, I ordered security cameras with overnight delivery. If Melissa wanted to establish residency, I'd establish evidence. Friday morning, while Melissa slept off another late night, I installed cameras. One facing the front door, one in the living room, one showing the hallway. All completely legal, my house, my rules. I downloaded 2 months of bank statements, highlighting every mortgage payment, every utility bill. All in my name only. I photographed every piece of mail Melissa had received, noting the dates. Then I found something interesting in her room while she was out. I wasn't snooping, I was retrieving my laptop charger, but there it was on her desk. A printed email thread with someone named Derek. "The house is perfect. 3 bedrooms like you wanted. My sister won't be a problem much longer." Much longer? I photographed it and kept looking. Found a rental application for an apartment, dated 3 weeks ago, marked denied, insufficient income. So she tried to leave but couldn't afford it. This wasn't temporary, this was opportunistic. I saved every text message, every Facebook post, even recorded Melissa telling Brad, "Once I establish residency, she can't just kick me out. I'll have rights." Rights? She'd researched this. Saturday arrived quickly. I'd invited 30 people, colleagues, neighbors, some friends from college. Jennifer Park, my work friend, confirmed she'd bring someone special, as requested. "Just someone you might want to meet," she'd said, with a knowing smile. Melissa spent all morning preparing, acting like the perfect co-host. She'd bought flowers with my credit card, arranged cheese plates I'd paid for, even made a playlist titled Our Housewarming. "This is going to be perfect," she said, arranging napkins. "Everyone will see what a great team we make." I smiled, checking that my phone was fully charged. The cameras were recording. The documents were ready. "Yes," I agreed. "Everyone will see exactly how things really are." "We should make an announcement together," Melissa suggested Saturday afternoon, 2 hours before guests arrived. "About our living arrangement. Make it official." "Official?" I kept my voice neutral, arranging glasses on the counter. "Yeah, so people stop asking questions. I'll explain how this is a family home now, shared space, all that." She was practically glowing. "Mom suggested it. She thinks it'll stop any confusion." Confusion, right. "Sure," I said. "You should definitely say what you want to say." She looked suspicious for a moment. "You're being weird." "I'm being supportive. Isn't that what you wanted?" My phone buzzed. "Jennifer. We're here early. Should we wait?" "Come in through the garage," I texted back. "Need to brief you both." I met Jennifer and Marcus in the garage. Marcus looked exactly as he had in college. Professional, sharp, briefcase in hand. "You sure about this?" he asked. "She's planning to announce co-ownership publicly. Tonight." "Perfect. Let her." He patted his briefcase. "I have everything. Property deed, bank records, title insurance, even pulled the security footage you sent to my cloud." "This feels like an ambush." Jennifer squeezed my shoulder. "No, honey. This is self-defense." We went inside separately. Marcus would blend with the guests, just another friend from college. No one needed to know he was a lawyer. Yet. Melissa had changed into a cocktail dress, looking every inch the co-hostess. "Where were you?" "Last-minute prep," I smiled. "Ready for your big announcement?" "Our announcement?" "Right. Our." The doorbell rang. First guests arriving. I watched Melissa practically sprint to answer it, ready to play house with my life. "Welcome to our home," she gushed. I counted security cameras. All recording. Time to let her dig her own grave. By 7:30, my living room was full. Colleagues from the tech company, neighbors I'd barely met, some college friends. Melissa worked the room like she'd paid for it, giving tours, explaining renovations we planned, pointing out where we would put new furniture. "Your sister's so charming," my manager said. "I didn't know you had a roommate." "Recent development," I managed. Brad arrived fashionably late, immediately taking over the music, acting like a co-host himself. I watched him pour wine with my bottles, eat food I'd bought, treating my colleagues like his guests. "Great place you ladies have," he told Jennifer, who looked disgusted. My parents arrived at 8. Mom immediately fussing over Melissa's dress. Dad settling into my favorite chair like he owned it. They'd never visited in the first 2 months I'd lived here, but now they were regulars. The family home, Mom kept saying to anyone who'd listen. So nice the girls are together. Mrs. Smith from next door pulled me aside. Your sister told me you're planning to convert the garage to a studio apartment. For rental income? First I've heard of it. Marcus circulated quietly, taking everything in. I saw him recording on his phone when Melissa told a group of my colleagues about our investment and how she was managing the property while I handled the technical stuff. Managing the property, my property. Speech time, Brad called out, clinking a glass. Melissa has something to share. The room quieted. Melissa moved to the center, glowing with confidence. My parents beamed. My colleagues looked confused but polite. This was it, the moment she'd been building toward, the public claim she thought would cement her position. I stood back, phone ready, cameras rolling. Let her talk. Melissa raised her glass, waiting for complete silence. She'd practiced this, I realized. The pause, the smile, the gracious hostess act. Thank you all for welcoming us, yes, us, to this beautiful home. She gestured to include me. I know some of you might be confused about our arrangement, so let me clarify. My colleagues shifted uncomfortably. Marcus stepped closer to the center, phone discreetly recording. After my divorce, my amazing sister opened her home to me. But it's become so much more than that. Melissa's voice grew stronger. This house represents family unity, the Henderson family home, where family supports family. Mom nodded approvingly. Dad raised his glass. I'll be here permanently, Melissa continued. This isn't just Laura's house anymore. It's our family's investment in each other. I'm so grateful my sister understands that family shares everything. Everything? Jennifer said loudly. How generous of Laura. Melissa missed the sarcasm. Exactly. She knows that property within a family isn't about ownership, it's about love. Brad started clapping. My parents joined. A few confused colleagues politely applauded. My sister graciously shares her space with me, Melissa added, looking directly at me, because she knows I deserve to be here just as much as she does. The room was silent except for the soft applause dying out. Everyone looked at me, waiting. Some colleagues looked shocked, others confused. Mrs. Smith was frowning. I set down my wine glass, stood up slowly. The cameras were rolling. 30 witnesses present. Actually, I said, my voice carrying clearly, I have an announcement too. Melissa's smile flickered but held. Of course. Laura probably wants to thank everyone. No. I stepped forward. I want to clarify some legal realities about property ownership. The room went completely still. The silence stretched like a held breath. Melissa's smile froze, becoming something brittle and sharp. Laura, this isn't the time. When is the time, Melissa? When you've convinced everyone you own half my house. My manager, David, cleared his throat. I thought Laura bought this house alone. That's what she told us at work. She did, Jennifer said firmly. I was at the closing. Family arrangements are complex, Mom interjected quickly. Melissa is family, so naturally. Naturally what, Mom? I kept my voice level. Naturally, she gets to claim ownership of something I spent 10 years saving for? Colleagues exchanged glances. Several pulled out phones, sensing drama. Mrs. Smith stepped closer, looking between Melissa and me. Melissa told me you both went in on this together, she said slowly. That it was a family investment. Interesting. I looked at Melissa. Want to explain that? You're embarrassing yourself, Melissa hissed. And me, in front of everyone. No, I'm clarifying facts. I noticed Marcus positioning himself near the door, briefcase in hand. Since you seem confused about them. Brad stepped forward, chest puffed. Hey, maybe calm down. You don't live here, 3 people said simultaneously. Jennifer, David, and surprisingly, Mrs. Smith. Actually, I said louder now, I have someone here who can explain property law to everyone. Make sure we're all clear on who owns what. Right on cue, the doorbell rang, but it was Marcus who stepped forward from the crowd, not someone at the door. I think I can help with that, he said, pulling out his business card. Marcus Williams, property attorney. I specialize in real estate law. Melissa went white. Mom gasped. Dad stood up. What the hell is this? Melissa whispered. Justice, I thought. Out loud, I said, the truth. This is where things got really interesting. If you think Laura was too harsh or just right, let me know in the comments below. Also, what would you have done in this situation? And remember, if you're finding value in this story, that subscribe button really helps me create more content like this. Now, let's see how my family reacted to the legal reality. Marcus stepped into the center of the room with the confidence of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. He set his briefcase on my coffee table, the click of the locks loud in the silence. I'm here as Laura's legal counsel, he announced, and as someone familiar with property law in Washington state. You ambushed us, Mom accused, her face flushing. This is a family party. No, Mrs. Henderson. Your daughter Melissa made public claims about property ownership. I'm simply here to clarify the legal facts. He pulled out a folder. Shall we discuss who actually owns this house? Melissa's face had gone from white to red. This is ridiculous. Laura, call off your attack dog. Attack dog? Marcus smiled thinly. I'm just a friend from college who happens to practice law. Laura asked me to bring some documents to share. Since you're making this a public declaration, let's make it accurate. Brad stepped toward Marcus. Maybe you should leave. Are you a resident here? Marcus asked calmly. I'm with Melissa. That's not what I asked. Do you live here? Is your name on any legal document related to this property? Brad looked at Melissa, who said nothing. Then please step back. Marcus opened his folder. Now let's clarify ownership, shall we? My colleagues had formed a circle, phones out. Several were recording. Mrs. Smith had pulled up a chair, settling in like this was a show, which I supposed it was. Laura, Dad said, his voice stern. This is inappropriate. We can discuss this as a family, son. We tried that, I said. You told me family doesn't have boundaries. Well, the law does. Marcus pulled out the first document. Let's start with the deed, shall we? Marcus held up the deed for everyone to see. This is the official property deed for this house, recorded with King County on March 15, 2024. Owner, Laura Henderson, single owner. No co-signers, no co-owners. He passed it around. Several colleagues leaned in to look. Mrs. Smith put on her reading glasses. Here are the mortgage documents. Another set of papers. Loan applicant, Laura Henderson, solo application, no co-borrowers. That doesn't mean, Melissa started. Bank statements. Marcus continued smoothly. Every mortgage payment for the past 7 months, all from Laura's personal account. Down payment of $63,000, also from Laura's personal savings account. He pulled out his phone. I also have security footage time-stamped showing Melissa moving in on September 2nd with no prior agreement. Laura, did you invite your sister to move in? No. Did you agree to her living here permanently? No. Have you received any rent or utility payments from Melissa? Not a penny. Melissa's hands were shaking. This is cruel. I'm family. Being family doesn't grant you property rights, Marcus said. Now let's discuss the interesting part. Melissa, you told neighbors you co-own this house. That's false representation of property ownership. You changed your legal address without the owner's permission. That's establishing residency under false pretenses. He pulled out another document. I also have a screenshot of you telling someone named Derek that, quote, the house is perfect and your sister won't be a problem much longer. Care to explain? The room gasped collectively. Mom sat down hard on the couch. Dad's face had gone gray. You went through my things? Melissa shrieked. Actually, that was me, I said calmly. In my house. Finding evidence of your plans. Marcus let the silence stretch before delivering the final blow. Let me be crystal clear for everyone here. He looked around the room, making eye contact with each guest. Melissa Henderson has absolutely no legal claim to this property. Zero. She is not an owner, not a co-owner, not an investor. She is, legally speaking, a guest. A guest who can be asked to leave at any time, Jennifer added helpfully. Precisely, Marcus nodded. In Washington state, a guest who's been residing for less than 60 days can be asked to leave immediately. It's been, he checked his notes, 54 days. This is insane, Mom stood up. Laura, you're destroying your family over property. No, Mom, I'm protecting what I worked for. I stayed calm, though my heart was racing. Melissa lied to everyone here. She claimed ownership she doesn't have. That's not okay. It's more than not okay, Marcus interjected. Misrepresenting property ownership to establish residency can be considered fraud, especially with this evidence of premeditation. Melissa started crying, not sad tears, angry ones. You planned this whole thing to humiliate me. You announced you owned my house. I simply corrected the record. David, my manager, spoke up. Laura, is this why your work performance dipped? You've been dealing with this? Before I could answer, Marcus continued. There's also the matter of mail fraud. Changing your address to someone else's property without permission, then claiming residency rights? That's federal. Federal? Brad stepped back from Melissa like she was radioactive. Are you threatening my daughter? Dad demanded. I'm stating facts. Whether Laura chooses to pursue charges is up to her. Marcus looked at me. What would you like to do? Every eye in the room turned to me. The cameras were still rolling. This was my moment. I took a breath, feeling 30 pairs of eyes on me. I want my house back, and I want it done legally. Marcus reached into his briefcase and pulled out an official-looking document. This is a 30-day notice to vacate. Standard procedure, completely legal, more generous than required by law. He handed it to Melissa, who wouldn't take it. It fluttered to the coffee table. 30 days? She was crying now, mascara running. You're evicting your own sister? I'm asking my house guest to find appropriate accommodation. I kept my voice steady. 30 days is plenty of time. This is cruel, Mom's voice cracked. How could you do this to family? How could you try to steal my house? I countered. Mom, you called Marcus last month trying to add Melissa to my deed, without telling me. Gasps from the crowd. Mom's face went scarlet. I was trying to help. Help steal my property? Dad stood up, his face thunderous. If you go through with this, you're no daughter of mine. The words should have hurt. Maybe they did, somewhere deep down. But mostly I felt free. Then I guess I'm no daughter of yours. I turned to Marcus. Please continue. Marcus picked up the notice Melissa had refused to take. Ms. Henderson, you're being formally served. 30 days from today, you need to vacate the premises. All your belongings must be removed. Any damage to the property will be prosecuted. I have rights, Melissa screamed. I've been living here for 54 days, as a guest, without a lease, without payment, without permission. Marcus's voice was clinical. You have no rights here except what Laura grants you, and she's granted you 30 days to leave. Brad was already backing toward the door. I gotta go. Brad, Melissa called, but he was gone. Marcus wasn't done. He pulled out another document, this one with multiple highlighted sections. These are the terms of vacation, non-negotiable. He began reading. All personal belongings must be removed by October 30th. All keys must be returned. Any duplicate keys must be surrendered. The locks will be changed regardless. Melissa had stopped crying, her face now set in cold fury. Utility bills totaling, he checked his notes, $473 in excess usage must be paid before departure. I'm not paying that. Then it'll be deducted from your assets through small claims court. Marcus didn't miss a beat. The bedroom currently occupied must be returned to its original state as a home office. All wall hangings must be removed, nail holes filled. My colleagues were recording everything. Mrs. Smith had her phone out too. This was being documented by dozens of witnesses. Any damage to the property will be photographed, assessed, and charged accordingly. This includes the lock installed without permission on the office door. This is vindictive, Dad spat. This is standard eviction procedure, Marcus corrected. Laura is actually being quite generous. She could demand immediate vacation and pursue fraud charges. Jennifer stepped forward. I'll witness this. She signed where Marcus indicated. David, my manager, surprised me. I'll witness too. Laura, I had no idea you were dealing with this. Your professionalism despite this situation is remarkable. 3 other colleagues offered to witness. Even Mrs. Smith volunteered. We all heard Melissa claim false ownership, Mrs. Smith said firmly. That's not right. Marcus dated the document, had the witnesses sign, then took photos of everything. Ms. Henderson, you've been legally served in front of multiple witnesses. The 30 days starts now. Melissa looked around the room, searching for support, finding none. Melissa's composure shattered completely. You're all witnessing a crime. She's throwing out a divorced woman with nowhere to go. You have Mom and Dad, I said quietly. They seem very supportive. We don't have room, Mom protested. You have a 4-bedroom house. 2 people live there. That's different. How? Jennifer asked. How is it different? Why should Laura house her but you won't? The question hung in the air. Mom opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came. Melissa turned on me, her face ugly with rage. You planned this. You let me settle in, let me feel safe, then ambushed me. You announced you owned my house at my party, that I paid for. I'm your sister, and I'm a person with rights and boundaries. I pulled out my phone. By the way, everything tonight has been recorded on my security cameras. Every lie you told, every false claim you made. One of my colleagues, Sam from accounting, had been live streaming. Actually, it's already on social media, 1,600 viewers and climbing. Melissa went white. You streamed this? You made it public, Sam shrugged. I just shared the show. Take it down. Why? You were so proud of your announcement. Let everyone see it. Dad grabbed Mom's arm. We're leaving. He looked at me with disgust. You've destroyed this family. No, Dad. You did that when you tried to give away my house. I stood taller. When you chose her comfort over my peace. When you called me selfish for wanting to keep what I earned. They left, Mom crying, Dad stone-faced. Melissa stood alone in my living room, surrounded by strangers who'd just watched her lies exposed. 30 days, I said. Not one more. By Monday morning, the video had gone viral. Woman tries to steal sister's house at party, gets legally evicted, had 2.3 million views. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing. At work, I was treated like a hero. David pulled me aside first thing. Laura, I owe you an apology. I noted performance issues without asking what was happening in your life. That was poor management. He paused. Your ability to handle that situation while maintaining work standards? That's leadership material. 3 colleagues shared their own stories. Sarah from UX had let her brother live temporarily in her condo for 2 years. Tom from engineering had lost his first house to a manipulative cousin. Everyone had a story about family taking advantage. You did what we all wish we could do, Sarah said. You stood up for yourself. The neighbors were equally supportive. Mrs. Smith brought me cookies and an apology. I should have verified with you when Melissa made those claims. I'm sorry I believed her. She was convincing. Con artists always are. She patted my hand. You did the right thing. My LinkedIn exploded with connection requests. 3 companies reached out about senior positions. Apparently, standing up to family bullies translated to strong leadership skills in corporate speak. But the best part? Other victims reached out. Hundreds of messages from people who'd been in similar situations, who'd lost homes, savings, peace to family members who felt entitled to their success. You gave me courage to set boundaries, one message read. Showing my family your video as a warning, said another. Jennifer forwarded me an article. The Laura Henderson Effect. When family boundaries go viral. I'd become a symbol for something I never intended. But if it helped others protect themselves, maybe the family drama was worth it. The family fallout was swift and brutal. My phone became a battlefield of text messages. Aunt Patricia, how could you humiliate your sister like that? Family doesn't act this way. Cousin Mike, saw the video. About time someone stood up to Melissa. She pulled this same shit with me 3 years ago. Uncle Tony, your parents are devastated. Was a house worth losing your family? Grandma Rose, proud of you, sweetheart. Your grandfather would be too. Don't let anyone take what you've earned. The family split into camps. Team Laura versus Team Melissa. Facebook became a war zone. Mom posted cryptic messages about ungrateful children and material possessions over blood. Her friends comforted her, calling me heartless. But then Dad's brother, Uncle James, posted the security footage of Melissa claiming ownership. This is theft, plain and simple. Supporting Laura 100%. Melissa moved back with our parents within a week, not waiting the full 30 days. She posted photos of her childhood bedroom with captions about starting over and learning who really loves you. Then, 3 days later, Dad texted me privately. Your mother doesn't know I'm writing this. I understand why you did what you did. I can't say it publicly. I have to live with her and Melissa. But I understand. The house is yours. You earned it. I stared at that text for an hour. It wasn't an apology, wasn't enough, but it was something. Mom maintained radio silence with me but told everyone else I'd destroyed the family. Melissa played victim on social media, starting a GoFundMe for emergency housing after family betrayal. It raised $47. The relatives who'd lived through Melissa's manipulation reached out privately. Each had a story. Each had been called selfish for protecting themselves. We were building our own family, the Survivors Club. Day 8 of the 30-day notice. Tuesday morning. A moving truck pulled up to my house while I was working from home. Actually working from my real office again. Melissa had a key, so she let herself in. No drama. No scenes. She'd brought 2 friends I didn't recognize to help her pack. They worked in silence, avoiding eye contact with me. I stayed in the kitchen, security cameras rolling, documenting everything. One of her friends whispered, "Is that the sister?" Like I was some kind of monster. It took them 3 hours to pack everything. Melissa had accumulated more than I'd realized. Boxes of clothes, furniture she'd bought, the lock she'd installed on my office door. Everything had to go. As they carried out the last box, Melissa stopped in the doorway. For a moment, I thought she might apologize, maybe acknowledge what she'd done. Instead, she dropped an envelope on the entry table and left without a word. After the truck pulled away, I opened it. A handwritten note. Laura, one day you'll understand what you've lost. Family is forever. Houses are just things. When you're old and alone in your perfect house, remember you chose property over people. I hope it was worth it. Maybe someday you'll understand what you've done. I photographed the note for my records, then filed it away. No anger, no tears, just relief. Then I did a thorough inspection. She'd left the room surprisingly clean. A few nail holes in the walls, but nothing major. The bathroom had been scrubbed, almost like she was trying to prove something. I changed the locks that afternoon, set the alarm code to something new, watered my plants that had been neglected for 2 months. My house was mine again, finally. My performance review came 2 weeks after Melissa moved out. David had scheduled it formally, which made me nervous. Laura, I need to apologize again, he started. I marked you down for focus issues without understanding the situation. That was unfair. I should have communicated better. No, You maintained professionalism despite incredible personal stress. That's not weakness, that's strength. He pulled up my file. I'm recommending you for senior software architect. 20% raise, team lead responsibilities, and full remote flexibility. I blinked. That's. I wasn't expecting. Your handling of that situation showed leadership qualities we value. Setting boundaries, maintaining composure under pressure, strategic thinking. He smiled. Plus, your work has been exceptional since you've had your space back. It was true. Without the chaos, I'd completed 3 major projects ahead of schedule. My code reviews were sharper. My creativity had returned. There's more, David continued. The CEO saw the video. He wants you to speak at our next leadership summit about maintaining professional boundaries. Paid speaking engagement, of course. The irony wasn't lost on me. Protecting my house from my sister had become a career boost. That afternoon, HR reached out. 3 employees had requested guidance on setting boundaries with family members affecting their work. Would I consider leading a workshop? I'm not a therapist, I protested. No, but you're proof it can be done professionally, the HR director said. Sometimes people need to see it's possible. By month's end, I had the promotion, a speaking engagement, and a side consulting gig helping others navigate family boundary issues. My LinkedIn followers had quadrupled. Mom finally called that evening. First contact in 3 weeks. I heard about your promotion, she said stiffly. Congratulations, I suppose. The door was cracking open, just a sliver, but it was something. 3 months after the party. January, snow falling outside my peaceful house. Mom called during my lunch break. Can we talk? Really talk? I set down my coffee. I'm listening. Melissa, she's been difficult. Living with us, I mean. A pause. She rearranged my entire kitchen, told the neighbors we're renovating. We're not. Started getting packages delivered constantly. The credit card bills. Sounds familiar. Don't be smug, Laura. I'm not. I'm stating facts. A long silence. Then quieter. She did this to cousin Beth, 3 years ago. Moved in after the divorce. Claimed partial ownership of Beth's condo. Beth had to threaten legal action. And you knew this? I thought it would be different with you. Your sisters. Being sisters doesn't make theft okay, Mom. It wasn't theft. She stopped herself. Maybe it was. I don't know anymore. Your father says I enable her. Maybe I do. This was the closest to an admission I'd ever get. She's my baby, Laura. When you have kids, I'll teach them boundaries and respect for others' property. You always were the harsh one. Practical, Mom. The word is practical. Another pause. Could we maybe have coffee sometime, just us, without Melissa or your father? It was an olive branch. Thorny, conditional, but still an olive branch. I'll think about it. That's all I can ask. Her voice cracked slightly. I do love you, Laura, even if I don't show it right. I know, Mom. Your house looks nice in the videos. You did good. After she hung up, I sat in my quiet kitchen, in my peaceful house, and felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe, eventually, something like understanding. The coffee with Mom led to a family meeting, at a neutral location, a restaurant, public, with witnesses. Marcus had suggested it, and I'd insisted on it. I brought a document. Family Boundaries Agreement. Marcus had helped me draft it. This is ridiculous, Dad said, reading it. We're not a business. Not a... No, but we need clear expectations. I kept my voice steady. If we're going to rebuild, we need rules. The document was simple. Visits must be scheduled 48 hours in advance. No overnight stays without written permission. No spare keys to my property. No discussing my finances or property with others. No attempting to modify my legal documents. Respect for my decisions, even if you disagree. This is so cold, Mom said. It's clear. There's a difference. Surprisingly, my brother Tom spoke up. He'd driven in from Portland. I'll sign it. Melissa tried to borrow my car for 6 months once, said family shares everything. I want boundaries too. My younger sister Emma nodded. She convinced mom to co-sign her credit cards using my college fund as collateral. I'm 23 and still recovering my credit. I'll sign. Dad looked around the table, seeing his children united for once. She really did all that? More, Tom said. We just never told you because Mom always defended her. Mom's face crumbled. I was trying to help. You were enabling, Emma said gently. We all love Melissa, but she needs consequences, not rescue. One by one, they signed. Even Mom, though her hand shook. Dad signed last, grudgingly. This doesn't mean I agree with how you handled things, he said. It means you'll respect my boundaries going forward. That's all I need. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. 6 months after the eviction. July. Melissa reached out through Emma asking to meet. Coffee shop, public space, neutral ground. She looked different, tired but clearer somehow. The entitled edge had softened into something more genuine. I'm in therapy, she said without preamble. Court-ordered, actually. I tried the same thing with a roommate. She pressed charges. I waited, saying nothing. The therapist. She says I have entitlement issues stemming from being the family baby. Always rescued, never facing consequences. She stirred her coffee. I'm working on it. Good. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know what I did was wrong. Really wrong. She met my eyes. I convinced myself I deserved your house because you had more than me. That's theft, isn't it? Yes. I've been living in my car for 2 months. Mom and Dad kicked me out when I tried to sell Mom's jewelry, said it was family property, so it was mine too. A bitter laugh. Guess I learned that logic somewhere. Where are you staying now? Women's shelter. They're helping me find work. Real work, not schemes. She pulled out an envelope. This is $200 toward the utilities I owe. I'll pay the rest when I can. I took the envelope. Thank you. I'm getting my own place next month. Studio apartment. Tiny, but mine. Legally mine. She stood to leave, then paused. That video? It went viral in my therapy group. You're kind of a hero to people who've dealt with family members like me. I never wanted to be. I know, but maybe it needed to happen. For both of us. She left. I counted the money, exactly $200. First payment she'd ever made. Progress. A year has passed since that housewarming party. My house is peaceful now. The garden bloomed this summer. Tomatoes, just like I'd planned. The office is back to being an office. My sanctuary is mine again. The family is slowly healing. We have monthly dinners now, at restaurants, never at anyone's home. The boundaries document sits in everyone's drawer, rarely referenced but always remembered. Melissa comes sometimes, quiet, working her program. She's been at her studio apartment for 4 months now, paying her own rent. Mom still struggles with boundaries, but she's trying. She asks before visiting now, calls before dropping by. It's progress, measured in small victories. The viral video changed more than just my family. I've received thousands of messages from people who found strength to set their own boundaries, who learned that family love doesn't mean accepting theft, manipulation, or abuse. I never wanted to be the poster child for family boundaries, but here we are. Sometimes the most important stands we take are the ones we never planned. My colleagues still call me the woman who evicted her sister at a party. But they also call me Senior Architect Henderson Team Lead, and recently, most likely to succeed at the company awards. My house is worth more than I paid for it now. But its real value? It's the peace I protected, the boundaries I enforced, the self-respect I refused to sacrifice. Family doesn't mean letting people take what you've earned. Love doesn't require you to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is show someone that their actions have consequences. What boundaries have you had to set with family? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Thank you for listening to my story. If it helped you feel less alone in your family struggles, please share it with someone who might need to hear this. What boundaries have you had to set with family? Drop a comment. I personally read and respond to as many as I can. And if you want more stories about standing up for yourself with grace, hit subscribe. Remember, your peace of mind is not selfish.